A big deal this Monday night, the $70 billion energy agreement signed in Newfoundland and Labrador.
We are finally turning the page on one of the darkest chapters in our past.
How it's different from past deals, what Ottawa is contributing, and how it could reshape Canada's energy landscape. Hold your fire, why the U.S. president is cutting back on joint military drills with South Korea. Landmark trial, what's at stake as Meta faces its biggest legal challenge yet. Plus, a life of accomplishment and struggle.
I feel like I've let myself down so many times and let other people down so many times.
How actor Hayden Panettiere's decades-long career has been cut short.
Global National with Donna Friesen.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. It is being hailed as a big breakthrough on a deal that's been described as one of the worst in Canadian history. After decades of disappointment for Newfoundland and Labrador, there is a new agreement on Churchill Falls, the massive hydroelectric generating station on the Churchill River in Labrador that supplies electricity to millions of people in Canada and the U.S.
The largest clean energy investment in North American history. Let's just put this in context. Tripling the current generation capacity of Churchill Falls to that 14,000 megawatts of renewable power. That's more than the entire generating capacity of BC Hydro.
Prime Minister Mark Carney was in St. John's today, along with the premiers of Quebec and Newfoundland. He is committing billions in federal funding. Heidi Petracek explains the new deal and why Carney says it's part of a broader nation-building strategy.
Look up, sir. A prime minister wasn't present the last time Newfoundland and Labrador penned an energy framework with Quebec. But this time, Mark Carney emphasizes it's Canada's deal, too.
To strengthen Canada's place in the world, to give ourselves more than any other nation can take away.
We have taken the hard lessons of the 1969 Churchill Falls disaster and learned from the mistakes made in the old 2024 MOU.
It's the second attempt at an agreement after a memorandum of understanding negotiated by the previous provincial government was scrapped once the PCs took power. For this round, Ottawa's pitching in up to $10 billion to add in a wind project, build transmission lines, and support new hydro development. This proposal pumps out more power, a total of 14,000 megawatts. Quebec would effectively pay 7.4 cents per kilowatt hour, starting at 2 cents and escalating at a rate of 14% until 2041. A good deal, says Quebec's premier.
When you look at alternatives, you're talking about 12 cents, 18 cents, 22 cents, depending of the energy resources you're looking at.
Newfoundland can also keep its allocated power for mining projects in Labrador, or sell surplus to markets in the U.S., or charge Quebec a premium price to buy the extra. All a far cry from the 1969 Churchill Falls Agreement, which sold power to Quebec for a fraction of a cent.
The way this is being conducted is the type of generational investment that gets everyone's attention, even the President of the United States.
Exactly what Ottawa wants, with Donald Trump's latest tariff threat looming Wednesday, although this agreement isn't finalized, and Quebec's fall election could put it at risk.
They obviously need energy in Quebec, and that'll be what Quebecers will have to decide as to whether or not that's in their best interest in a couple of months' time.
Tony Wakeham had said he would put this agreement to a referendum. Now he says that won't happen because there's just not enough time before the Quebec election. So instead, it will be debated in a special session of the Newfoundland and Labrador legislature September 14th. Donna.
Okay, Heidi Petracek in Halifax, thank you. There is no deal to announce between Canada and the U.S. 2 days remain until President Donald Trump's threat to impose punishing new tariffs on Canadian products comes into effect. Canadian negotiators are still trying to find a way around it, and Prime Minister Mark Carney says he'll have opportunities to speak with Trump over the next 48 hours. Mackenzie Gray is watching for developments.
Hi, Minister. How are you? It's gone from days to hours to find a deal and avoid new U.S. tariffs coming to place Wednesday at 12:01 a.m.
We're going to continue working. Our job is not yet done.
How are talks going with Canada?
The American negotiators joined by a new face at the table, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, whose department hosted the meeting, a part of talks the Prime Minister labeled as intense and delicate.
Frankly, we'll have opportunities over the next 48 hours to discuss in more detail as the negotiations go forward, and I think that's the best forum.
The next step, the Prime Minister and President talking, with Carney saying he plans to speak with Donald Trump before any new tariffs could come into place. But there are major issues to still be dealt with to avoid that happening. Sources with direct knowledge of the talks tell Global News the Americans are proposing to drop current tariffs on Canadian-made cars and parts from 25% to 15%. But multiple auto industry insiders have told the Carney government if they agree to that, it will lead to plant closures once current models are done production. This weekend, the Liberals sought industry input on what tariff levels, alongside other government measures, could be workable for the Ontario auto industry to remain competitive.
While we may not be able to control President Trump, we can and are controlling the decisions we make here in Ontario.
Decisions including if to put U.S. alcohol back on provincial liquor store shelves, a prerequisite to any deal with the U.S. But getting all the provinces to agree, potentially a major challenge. In particular, BC, with so far no movement on softwood lumber. Sources tell Global News the Americans have not been interested in discussing softwood during the talks, despite the Canadian government hoping to have the 10% national security tariff on softwood removed.
It's mixed not only in the sectors that are involved, but also the regions of the country that are involved, the different provinces.
If there's no deal by Wednesday, expect some form of retaliation from the Canadian government to the new tariffs that will impact $28 billion worth of goods, Donna, with Mark Carney saying he has plans for every scenario.
Okay, Mackenzie Gray in Ottawa, thank you. Inflation in Canada ticked up in July, rising from 2.8% to 3%, driven largely by an increase in energy prices. The war the U.S. and Israel started with Iran keeps disrupting oil tanker traffic, pushing gas prices up by more than 25% compared to this time last year. The cost of jet fuel drove airfares up 12% this July compared to last. Tours and travel packages also cost more because of the popularity of the World Cup. There is no sign of a resolution to the war on Iran. A 2-month window to negotiate a peace deal has expired, and few ships are getting through the Strait of Hormuz. The interim ceasefire gave the two sides 60 days to negotiate an end to the war. The U.S. president told Fox News he is not in a hurry to reach a deal. He does claim he's got a direct back channel to Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran denies that. It says it is finalizing an agreement with Oman to manage shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump said today if Oman gets in the way of opening the strait, he will bomb the country. Oman is a U.S. ally and is not involved in the war. President Trump is punishing another U.S. ally, this one in Asia. He has ordered the Pentagon to scale back joint military exercises with South Korea, and he is citing his good relationship with North Korea's Kim Jong-un, who Trump has described as smart and honorable. Jackson Proskow reports on what's driving this latest embrace of North Korea's dictator.
The joint U.S.-South Korean military drills had just begun when the American president delivered a blow to 7 decades of cooperation. On social media, Donald Trump abruptly called for U.S. participation to be substantially reduced based on my very good relationship with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Trump said the drills send a signal that is totally inappropriate and hostile.
I understand him. He understands me. You're doing war games. I get along with him.
President Trump has made no secret of his desire to restart diplomacy with North Korea. And so this is actually a very concrete action he is taking to try to extend the olive branch to Kim Jong-un.
Trump's infatuation with the North Korean dictator has long perplexed American allies.
He wrote me beautiful letters, and they're great letters. We fell in love.
Since returning to the White House, the president has signaled his desire to rekindle their diplomatic relationship. There's no talk of denuclearization and no acknowledgement of North Korea's decision to send thousands of troops and missiles to support Russia in its war on Ukraine.
They're definitely learning new tactics from their involvement in Ukraine, and particularly battlefield experience when it comes to the use of drones and drone warfare.
Trump seems more interested in addressing his grievances with South Korea, including Seoul's refusal to help secure the Strait of Hormuz.
We have 39,000 soldiers over there guarding you from Kim Jong-un, your next door neighbor, and you're not going to help us on a very easy military operation in Iran? That's strange.
But the real motivation seems to be his desire to please Kim Jong-un, who he acknowledged has recently been in touch again.
Has he? Yeah, he has.
All of it is once again testing a decades-old alliance forged by war that no longer seems ironclad. Jackson Proskow, Global News, Washington.
President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, has met with the Israeli Prime Minister in an attempt to break a deadlock over a peace plan for Gaza. Israel has continued military operations and airstrikes on Gaza, despite a ceasefire that was agreed to in the first phase of the peace plan, and it has so far rejected the second phase, which calls for the Israeli military to withdraw. Redmond Shannon reports.
The latest victim of an Israeli drone strike on Gaza. His mother says nowhere is safe. He is one of more than 1,200 Palestinians that local authorities say Israel has killed since a ceasefire was supposed to have taken effect last October. Israel's military also says Hamas exploded a device near Gaza's so-called Yellow Line security perimeter on Monday. In Jerusalem, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu cast his vote in primaries ahead of October's general election. On the same day that he met with U.S. Special Envoy Jared Kushner and other members of the U.S.-backed Board of Peace. On Sunday, Kushner met with Hamas chief Khalil al-Hayya in Egypt. Hamas has asked the Board of Peace to push Israel to implement the second phase of the U.S.-led peace plan. Last month, Hamas agreed to the details, which would see it disarm alongside a phased Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. But Israel has since rejected that, saying Hamas must fully disarm before a withdrawal. That is a position Netanyahu reportedly reaffirmed in Monday's Kushner meeting, with an understanding strikes on Gaza will continue, only committing to setting up a working group on disarmament.
It's pretty clear that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not interested in showing any real progress on the situation on the ground ahead of his re-election campaign.
Israel's far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, whose party forms part of Netanyahu's governing coalition, opposes any peace deal. Over the weekend, he said Israel should carry out targeted killings of 30 to 40 people in Gaza every night. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.
Terrifying moments in Indonesia as a powerful earthquake strikes. Coming up, this pregnant woman's gratitude to doctors and nurses. Tropical storm Lala has left a muddy mess in Hawaii. The huge storm battered the islands with high winds and heavy rain, triggering flash floods that washed out roads. Residents are surveying the damage, and it is extensive. The storm ripped roofs off homes and downed large trees. The storm is moving west now, away from the main Hawaiian islands, but the National Hurricane Center says life-threatening surf and rip current conditions will persist today. People in parts of Indonesia are struggling to cope in the aftermath of a magnitude 7.7 earthquake this weekend. At least 68 people are known to have died, and more than 200 others are injured across the country's southeast. Nathaniel Dove reports on the rescue efforts and why so many deadly quakes are happening this year.
A 7.7 magnitude earthquake Saturday shaking buildings apart in Indonesia. Workers are still trying to recover the missing, help those without shelter, and treat the injured, like Maria Kellen. She gave birth during the earthquake and aftershocks 2 months early and hemorrhaged. She says she didn't know what would happen to her or her 3 other children at home. She and her baby are fine. She's grateful to the doctors and nurses who stayed during the quake. Colombia's recovery efforts are slightly further ahead. They've started holding funerals. The earthquake took my father from me, Claudia Galeano says, but others lost even more. The Indonesia earthquake is the 11th with a magnitude greater than 7 this year. The U.S. Geological Survey, a leading authority, considers quakes larger than 6.5, combined with how many people it affects, significant. USGS data also shows the number of quakes so far in 2026, compared to previous years, including those stronger than magnitude 6, is typical. Seismologist Jong says the major quakes last year were mostly in remote areas.
It's not like a domino effect or anything here. it's really just a part of the normal pattern that where we're seeing these earthquakes.
Cassidy explains factors like soil firmness, building strength, and above all, distance from the epicenter determine how deadly a quake is.
I think that's the biggest difference this year is not the numbers, but just the fact that these earthquakes are close to major population centers and vulnerable areas, and we've seen, terrible impacts.
He says emergency preparation is key. Kellen would likely add bravery of the people who stayed to deliver her baby. Nathaniel Dove, Global News, Toronto.
Still ahead, the court case that could change how Facebook and Instagram operate. The trial of the man accused in the murder of hip-hop superstar Tupac Shakur is underway in Las Vegas. Former gang leader Dwayne Davis is charged with 1 count of murder with a deadly weapon. Both sides delivered their opening statements today. The defense argued the case lacks sufficient evidence. Prosecutors called Shakur's 1996 killing an act of revenge. Davis is accused of orchestrating the drive-by shooting in retaliation for an assault on his nephew. The now 63-year-old has pleaded not guilty. A landmark trial will soon begin that could have major consequences for Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram. It's being sued by 4 U.S. states, accused of breaking child privacy laws on its platforms. Meta has already lost 2 trials related to safety and intentionally making its products addictive. As Jillian Piper reports, the outcome of this case could be far more consequential.
Instagram and Facebook could soon change forever.
This is, of course, a bellwether trial.
4 U.S. states are seeking up to $1.4 trillion in penalties and platform changes, alleging parent company Meta broke privacy laws by gathering data on kids to make the apps more addictive.
For years now, children's privacy rights have been violated by these platforms.
The lawsuit argues Meta has been intentionally designing features like an infinite scroll function and targeted algorithms to hook children, while lying to the public about the platform's mental and physical risks.
The comparison here is in the 1990s in the United States, we had a lot of big tobacco litigation. And that's what's happening here. And that's what happened with tobacco.
It is the biggest legal challenge against Meta yet, but far from the first.
Yesterday's decision was, by all accounts, a historic moment.
Less than 2 weeks ago, Meta lost a similar court challenge in New Mexico and was ordered to pay $567 million in damages.
It is, I think, a strong signal from the court about how serious the problem of child exploitation is on this platform.
Meta is appealing the New Mexico decision and disputes the pending allegations, saying evidence throughout the trial will show its commitment to supporting young people.
We've built more than 30 different tools, resources, and features that parents can set time limits for their teens using our apps.
But if the allegations are proven, it could open the floodgates.
Basically, any person who's potentially harmed by one of these products has a potential claim against Meta. And so that is thousands, if not millions, of potential claims.
The landmark trial is expected to kick off in California on Tuesday, while 25 other states are still waiting to face off against Meta in court. Donna?
Okay, Jillian Piper, thank you. A bespoke model of Ferrari's first fully electric car is sold for $40 million US, making it the most expensive new car ever sold at auction. The car sold for 36 times its estimated value. The Italian car maker says proceeds from the sale will go to educational initiatives through the Ferrari Foundation. Next, reflecting on the life of Hayden Panettiere and the struggles she endured. She was hugely talented as well as deeply troubled. Hayden Panettiere started performing as a child and lived virtually her entire life on camera. She died yesterday, just days before her 37th birthday. Panettiere lived a star-studded life, but she said it was far from easy. As Sarah MacDonald reports, the actress was outspoken about her battles right until the end.
babies like having their favorite toys with them.
Born in New York in 1989, her career began before she could even walk or talk.
My brother told me to watch his chicken nuggets for a minute.
By the time she hit preschool, Hayden Panettiere was already a bona fide budding child star.
Good, my mommy wants to be happy.
From the daytime soap opera circuit to earning a Grammy nod for her voice work in A Bug's Life.
We drew one of you dying because our teacher said it would be more dramatic.
Stepping up to the silver screen alongside Denzel Washington.
Still weak on the left side.
We're not weak on the left side.
And launched to global stardom after landing the lead role in the sci-fi drama Heroes.
That it's more important to be honest with yourself and happy than popular.
Then showcasing her vocal skills in Nashville. Panettiere would later say that role mirrored reality far too closely. Her pregnancy in 2014 written right into the storyline.
What are you talking about?
Along with personal behind-the-scenes struggles.
And she's suffering from postpartum depression.
And she went through that, which was something that I can very much relate to.
She said speaking candidly in this appearance on Live with Kelly and Michael.
There's a lot of people out there who think that it's not real.
Cost her a lucrative contract with Neutrogena. But she kept talking, especially recently with the release of her memoir just this past May, discussing the dark side of childhood fame and her relationship with her mother.
I can't even remember a time where she wasn't a momager.
And the heartache of ultimately surrendering custody of her daughter Kaya as she fought her own demons.
I will always want her here. You know, I always miss her.
Panettiere was found dead on Sunday in Greenville, South Carolina. Her cause of death still under investigation. A life spent almost entirely in the spotlight.
Please welcome 11-year-old cutie patootie, Hayden Panettiere!
Ending far too soon. Panettiere would have turned 37 on Friday.
And that is Global National for this Monday. I'm Donna Friesen. Tonight's Your Canada is Shediac, New Brunswick. We'd love to see your Canada. Please email it to globalnational@globalnews.ca. And thanks for watching. I am off for a little bit, and I will see you again in September. Bye-bye.